Many people think insurance is just about getting a quote or finding the lowest premium, but in states like Florida, where homeowners' auto, business, and property risk can change quickly, the right insurance advice can make a major difference. A good independent agency does more than compare prices. It helps clients understand their options, avoid coverage gaps, and choose protection that fits their real needs. Today, we are going to talk about independent insurance, client education, Florida risk, business coverage, and how technology may help agencies serve clients better. Welcome to another edition of the Smart Office Podcast. I'm your host, Hippolyte Asa. I am an AI implementation engineer. I help businesses use practical AI systems to improve operations, client experience, and growth. Today, I'm excited to welcome Donald Kikundel, VP of Kikundel Insurance. Donald has over 15 years of experience in the insurance industry, and is also a U.S. Army veteran. Kikundel Insurance is an independent insurance agency serving Winter Park, Orlando, and surrounding Florida communities with personal and commercial coverage, including home, auto, flood, business, workers' compensation and commercial property, cyber liability, and health and life insurance. Donald, welcome to the Smart Office Podcast.
Thank you very much, and I'm sorry that I can't blur out my background so you see what a mess my office is today.
It's all right. We'll get to do that. Okay. So, Donald, I've been looking forward to this conversation because independent insurance agencies play such an important role. Clients are not just buying policies, they are trusting someone to help them understand risk, compare options, and protect their family or business. And with your background as a veteran and your years in insurance, I'm sure you bring a strong service mindset to that work. How are you today?
We're doing terrific. It's since we do so many, we have people assigned to different parts of our business. And so sometimes one part is busy, the other part is not. And we're going through a lot of that right now. It's a transition time of year for us where storm season's about to come in. So the flood business is very busy. But it's interesting. But the changes in our industry are tremendous right now.
For people who don't know you, maybe something I have not mentioned about you, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
I was in IT before I was in computers.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, I was in IT before I was in insurance.
Right.
And so when I first got into insurance, it was the most backward thing I'd ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it's backward. They're so far behind technically that it just amazes me sometimes.
Right. Okay. I know before we get into the insurance, and I know you've shared a little bit of your story. How did you get into insurance industry?
I got fired. So I had a terrific job in the computer business. It really was. It was a terrific job. And the company, if you remember all the .com days, the company I was with, I'd been shot out from under 3 different .coms. And the company I was with at Internet Security, they were terrific people. And they got up one day and they were running out of money at the speed of light. And as I was getting on the airplane in Atlanta, Georgia, my boss called me and fired me. And I was just so disgusted that I came home. I told my wife, I said, I got to get something that's a real job.
Right.
And I ended up getting recruited for insurance.
Wow, that's amazing. You're the second person on my podcast today who said they got into the insurance business because they got fired. Why do people not make it their first choice?
Because they don't know anything about it. Most people think they know insurance. You have a car, you buy car insurance, so you know what insurance is. You have no clue what insurance is.
Right.
As such, picking it as a career, we deal with some young people. We've had people, have somebody I know right now who owns an insurance agency. When I hired this person, they had just got fired as a waitress.
Yeah.
And so over years of learning from us and getting licenses and things like that, now they get up one day and they decide they'd like to have, and they bought a franchise. But a lot of it is people are just not well educated about how this industry works and the opportunities. The opportunities are tremendous. So yeah, you don't get a lot of people that pick this. It's not exciting.
Yeah, but is there a reason why young people don't make it their first choice? Do you see young people get out of school, I'm going to school, I'm going to get out and become an insurance broker? Why do you think they don't do that?
Well, there are so many different places that you could play in the insurance business.
Right.
So maybe you want to be an agent, maybe you want to be a broker, maybe you want to be an underwriter. There's no one good place to go to learn about the different things to do,
right,
to pick one.
Okay. So for someone hearing about Kikundel, insurance for the first time. What makes your agency different?
Well, what makes us very unique is that you can actually find us. Our
Okay.
customers literally park 3 feet away from our door.
Wow.
And even though we have customers from here to California,
Right.
they know they can find us. We were online the other day. Somebody was complaining about one of the franchises, and it took them 3 days. Nobody got back to them. I said, here's my cell phone. Call me now. We take calls 7 days a week.
Wow.
So we have all the automation tools. We have the carriers. We have those things, but we have people right here. We're
Right.
not working out of the back of a Buick or sitting around a food court at the mall.
Mhm.
And so insurance is a people business.
Right.
And as such, if you can't interface with a person, a lady just walked in our door as we're talking. If you can't interface with a person, what's the point?
That's the point. You're right. So how long have you been in I know I mentioned it earlier, but how long have you been in this insurance model of yours? Like
Coming up on 20 years. Originally,
20
I was
years.
in health insurance, and then we gravitated towards P&C, and now we have all the above.
Wow. Okay. Can you share, given your 20 years experience, maybe a client story where the right insurance guidance made a meaningful difference? Like what was the client worried about? What was the risk for them? And what did they misunderstand before getting guidance on from Kendall?
Well, one of the things we do is Medicare. We had 4 people die in the last 30 days.
Wow.
And that's a terrible thing, and it's a painful thing. And a husband called me, and right behind him, a wife called me. But when they called, their second comment was how happy they were that they had the correct thing, so that when they went through that pain, they didn't have to worry about bills or any of those types of issues. And we get that quite a bit from people. And that's important because people don't realize that insurance is about the people. Life insurance. When someone passes away, nobody's sitting there thinking about life insurance, but that check means a lot to the people that remain so that they can continue on as best they can with their lives. A great example, auto insurance. My car, I got hit by a deer last year.
Right.
And, and everybody's like, how did that go? And I said, well, it didn't go well for the deer because he's dead, but it went okay for me. But for me, it went right by the numbers. It worked exactly the way it's supposed to. I called the company, scheduled, got my rental car, dropped off my car, got my car back a couple weeks later, thoroughly repaired. And I tell people there is a process to it. And if you work within that, rarely do you have any problems at all.
Oh, that's a good story, man. But a lot of clients want to save money on insurance. How do you help them balance costs with the proper protection? How does that work?
We're big believers in the truth. We just went through this with someone where he's a friend of mine. He's part of an organization I belong to, and he got in his head that he wanted to do something. And we explained to him that we're very happy that he might want to do that, but it's not going to work. Well, I know lots of people who did it. Yes, you do. And there's a place down the road called a jail. There's a lot of people in there that thought they were going to do a certain thing. But in the world of insurance, the fact that you want to do something doesn't mean you can do it. Your real problem is that when you go to file that claim, we both know there's lots of people who've had different kinds of insurance. I've had homeowners insurance for 30 years, never filed a claim.
Right.
When I do file one, I want to make darn sure that it's going to pay me the way that I expect to be paid based upon the policy I bought. And unfortunately, people believe in the internet. They pray to the God of the internet. They whip out their phone and punch buttons for the internet. And I hate to hurt people's feelings, but there are no deals on the internet.
Right.
That $37 car insurance, there's no $37 car insurance. That's an ad. That's why they turn off the comments. Overwhelmingly, the majority of problems that people run into, if you look on the bottom of my email, it says, never, ever, 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 ever call an insurance company before you call us. Just yesterday, wonderful woman I've known for years called the insurance company. Now, I understand what she meant when she spoke to them, but that's not what they heard. So they canceled. And so she calls me and I said, what's it say at the bottom of the email? Never, ever, ever, ever. I said, you got yourself canceled because your intent did not match up with reality.
Right.
You don't have the problem that they think you have. But I now must go explain to them, you never had that problem, even though it's going to sound like you have that problem. And the internet's a wonderful thing, but no, there are no deals on the internet. We've tested it 100. We actually give people our rater. You think
Right.
the internet's a deal? Here, you can use what we use, and then you come back and you tell me, is there a deal out there?
Right.
Saw a thing the other day from somebody. Oh, I went down the street to X, Y. They saved me $1,000. No, they didn't. They
Mhm.
changed their coverage.
You change your
Reduced
coverage.
it. Yep, changed it, reduced it. Now she doesn't have what she thought she had, but she
Yeah.
saved $1,000. No
Wow.
problem.
I
So
see.
consumers need to, I mean, there's a reason that in the old days you would actually go meet your agent because you would get that one-to-one relationship. And now the person who's working to help you knows you, understands your needs.
Right.
So we've lost a lot of that. And I don't know if we'll ever get it back again. I hope that we do it. So I think people are slowly but surely getting smarter, and they're
Mhm.
realizing that that picture of that puppy on the internet, that puppy doesn't do insurance. And the puppy
Right.
doesn't care about your insurance. And if it were your puppy, God knows what it would do in your living room,
Right.
but it's not going to save you $1,000 on
It's not gonna
insurance.
save you. But consumers have a natural tendency to save money. Would you blame them? Like everybody wants a deal. Is it just a natural instinct? Like I got a deal, I got $1,000 back. I got this, but in essence, they are not getting the proper protection. How would you balance that?
I tell people all the time, I have to buy this stuff too. People are amazed that the people that work in my office have to buy insurance. I go, let me guess, you think what, Santa gives it to us at Christmas or that thing on TV? They come, I said, we don't get this for free. We pay the same price as you do for the exact same thing. Yeah, we all want to save money. I mean, dear God, gas is what, $5 a gallon? I don't want to pay $5 a gallon. Tires are
Exactly.
ridiculous. Food, get me started about the cost of food. So everybody wants to save money. The best way to save money is to work, and it doesn't matter what industry you're talking about. The best way to save money is to work with someone who has experience that's been doing that particular thing for a while that
Right.
keeps you out of trouble. You know, you wouldn't go to a lawyer that graduated yesterday. That'd be silly. You wouldn't go to a doctor that graduated last week because they don't have an experience level and could end up costing you a fortune.
Just to piggyback on that, what would you advise young people who are about to start in the industry and they feel like most consumers may need experience for them to be their customers? If you're starting off new and you want to join the industry, what advice would you give them?
Well, if someone wants to join this business, I'm going to tell them do a ton of research and think about where you're going to be most comfortable.
Right,
If you're 29 years old and you think you want to sell Medicare, that's a nice idea. But what you're going to find out is you're dealing with people 30, 40 years older than you, and you might not have a comfort level with that. Commercial insurance, we do a lot of commercial insurance. You're dealing with business people, and you have to understand back to your cheaper price. Business people want to save money, but they don't want to hurt themselves either.
right,
And so it's very important to them that the person they're dealing with tells them the complete story. That's my biggest complaint about this industry is that if you're a new person coming into it, trying to find someone to tell you the truth about this business is
right,
next to impossible. If they don't have their hand in your pocket, they don't want to talk to you,
right.
right?
Wow.
And we get people come in all the time. We're happy to tell them. I go to meetings, chamber of commerce, things like that.
Hmm.
People ask me about insurance. I said, okay, do you want the truth or you want the stuff on TV?
Yeah,
Because
there's a difference.
yeah, the stuff on TV, come on, you know, and I know it. No, you're not sitting at the beach. You're not sucking down a margarita.
Right.
You don't get to pick up your Lamborghini. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
There are days that's fantastic. There are days like yesterday that are terrible. You know, two people back to back to call you and tell you that people you know are not here anymore. That's
Right.
painful.
That's painful. Well, Kikundel, insurance says it works for the client, not the insurance company. What does that mean in real life when someone is shopping for a coverage or dealing with a claim? Like from what you're saying.
It means we're going to ask you a lot of questions.
Right.
We actually have little pads here because so many people want to do things by memory, and that's a nice idea. But we have
Hmm.
little pads here, especially for the newer people here, but everybody uses them. I use them. Of all the questions and things that we want to learn, I
Right.
had somebody recently, and they're like, "You're sure asking me a lot of questions." I said, "Well, would you like the correct insurance or just whatever I pick off the shelf?" "Well, I want the correct insurance." "Yes, you do. If my car has a wrap on it, I have commercial auto. You'll see people with magnetic signs. Here in Florida, you put those signs on your car and you get in an accident, you better have commercial insurance. Is it more expensive? Absolutely it is.
Mhm.
But would you like to get run over and find out your insurance is no good?
Right.
Whoops, that's bad."
Right. In Florida, what are some of the biggest insurance issues homeowners or families or businesses face? What
Well,
should they pay
homeowners is a
attention to?
mess. And so, politically, I can't get into that other than to say, yes, homeowners is a mess because I have to buy it too. And again, part of that is the things that the consumer needs to do. I have a new electrical box on my house. I have a new water heater in my house. You've got to recognize there's maintenance that you have to do to that home
Right.
in order to keep it up when you're ready to resell it, as well as to get insured, because insurance companies, and I know this is hard to believe, they're not in the business of paying claims.
Right.
You watch that guy on TV, you'll think that's all they do all day, just write checks for claims.
Right.
That's not what they're in business for. They're in business to make money.
Money.
They don't make money, they're not going to be here. At the
Right.
same time, you have to be open and honest with them to make sure you get the correct product. But
Right.
homeowners, the price has gone up. Absolutely. But look where we live. We had 4 hurricanes one time in one summer. That's expensive. We
That's a
have a
lot.
beach. The whole state's a beach.
It's a bit, yeah.
And so as such, there are things that are going to happen here that are never going to happen in West Virginia or Ohio.
Right.
There's just those kind of risks. But they have their own problems. We do business in some other states, and I spoke to somebody the other day about flooding. And I go, "What kind of flooding do you get? You're in Indiana." And they go, "Basements? We don't have
Basement, yeah.
basements. We
Yeah.
don't have such a thing." But they actually have flood policies because they have basements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For business owners, what are the coverage areas that are often overlooked? Let's say,
Well, there's a lot of business owners walking around with no coverage.
wow, okay.
We have that discussion quite a bit because we try and explain to them, look, if you have a retail establishment, someone walks through that door, the guy on TV, and I won't mention his name, he can't wait to sue you. Don't
Yeah.
kid yourself. When he
Right.
runs that ad, slip and fall, they love that stuff. Guess who they're talking about? You. You got a store, and I more than understand it because I've had other businesses prior to this that when you first start out, every penny counts. And as such, you don't want to spend money on things that you believe are not necessary.
Right.
But we live in a different day and age. When you and I were teenagers, they weren't running ads on TV with big paper checks. Oh, this guy got me $1 million. That didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. Today, it's the lottery. They can't wait to go. I saw the ad the other day about trucks, tractor
Mhm.
trailers.
Right.
And I get it, but I don't get it. I mean, I understand you get run over by a tractor trailer, but standing on top of a tractor trailer with a big check for $1 million, they're allowed to advertise like that. But if you're a small company and that's what you're a 3-person company and you've got a tractor trailer, you need to make sure you got the right coverage because these guys can't wait to sue you.
Oh my God. Okay, they're just waiting. Well, Donald, with everything Kikundel Insurance is doing across personal, commercial insurance, what are you most focused on improving right now?
Well, right now is that time of year when a lot of people from up north move to Florida.
Right.
And so we have a program moving to Florida. And you
Okay.
need to recognize that when you move here, the first thing you're going to do is get brand new insurance on everything.
Right.
All right. You may have a certain company and they're in New Jersey. They're also in Florida. Well, maybe, but the price is different here. Coverages are different here. And so when you get here, and if you're smart, you're going to do it before you get here. You're going to
Right.
call us up. We're going to talk about what you have. We just had some folks from Tennessee move to Florida. And so before they ever got here, they called us up. We had a conversation. They have certain things where they're at that they don't need here in Florida. There's certain
Mhm.
things they do need here. But moving to
Okay.
Florida right now is a big program that we have, and commercial business. Our commercial business insurance, this time of year, business slacks down in certain areas,
Right.
so the owners can take the time to actually read the paperwork that we supply to them that we want them to read so that they know what they have coverage on.
Yeah, if you want to say maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, if you want to say it really went well, what would be the difference or be different for the agency, your clients or your team? What would be something that really went well in the next 6 to 12 months?
What's something that will go well in the next 6 months?
Yeah, let's say you have you're looking at the agency, you're looking yourself. Maybe there's something you're working on right now. I really wanted to put a priority for it to improve. Is it going to be like new, like you're just telling them about people moving in? Would you be to be like getting these leads, people sign up? You say, okay, you made a target. Will it be like improving something more internal, maybe processes or anything like that? What would it be a goal for the next 6 to 12 months?
The two biggest things we're working on is what we call one number. We will have one number for everything. You can call it, text it, email it 24/7, and that should be 100% operational in the next 6 weeks. I mean, we already have the number. You can call and text it,
Right.
but we want to make it so easy for that customer to just pick up their phone, hit a button, and find us.
The right person.
And that's a big deal for us. And then productivity, what you mentioned, I am not happy with the processes that we go through. We just went through something on life insurance that I'm very unhappy about, and we're going to change who we work with, how we work with it to make it so much easier. Even if you get turned down, you should
Right.
be able to get turned down very, very fast.
Fast.
It shouldn't take months for you to find out that you didn't
Exactly.
get the coverage you wanted.
Right.
But yes, we're looking at processes slash productivity to make it as easy and convenient and fast for the customer as possible.
Wow. Well, that sounds good. That brings me to technology. Where do you see technology helping you in these processes, like making the biggest difference for you in the within the agencies, improving these processes and helping out to bring some level of customer satisfaction?
Well, we did something last year that I really didn't see that I was going to have to do. We actually have our own database manager slash social media person slash IT person. And so for a company this size, I didn't see that. Now, that's an overhead that I wasn't expecting, but it literally got to the point 18 months ago that I'm sitting here going, we can't farm this out anymore. It doesn't work the way it used to. The amount of technology being thrown at us is huge. It's
Right.
monstrous. And so we brought a person in, wonderful person, did a fantastic job, got recruited away from me with a 50% raise. You gotta love it. Well, what happens is when you come out of school, you have no experience. We put them back through a lot of the training and they became so valuable in the first year they were here. This is the second time we had that happen to us. Now we have a person in here who's doing a terrific job, but we had the discussion at the very beginning. Please come and see me when the recruiters start, because they will start. Because if you're a technology person, experience is what it's all about. You can
Right.
have all the degrees you want, but you have to have done it. And so I never really saw that. Now I sit here and I go, that's a permanent fixture. That person is every bit as important as every agent here
Right.
because they've got to keep all this stuff running. Because again, we've gone to one number. So the phone's got to talk to the computer, has to
Yeah.
talk to everything. And when you go to that, if you call here on a weekend and you get a recording, you can literally say to that recording, connect me to Don, and it finds me wherever I am.
Right.
So that customer never gets stuck with voicemail.
Voicemails. Yeah. Right. So,
Not
what part
happening.
of the client relationship should always stay human? Let's say we're talking about technology, maybe AI or things like that. What part of this client relationship should always stay human?
Well, if you look at it as a funnel in that sense, when you get to the end of that funnel where something comes out of it,
Right.
that part right there has to be a human. Absolutely, positively has to be a human. AI is a wonderful thing. I get it. I understand it. I dealt with it long before I ever got an insurance. But where I think a lot of companies are making a huge mistake is they want to dump it and computerize it. And they don't realize that if you're an 80-year-old lady on Medicare, yeah, playing with a computer sounds like a fun thing, but she needs someone who can listen to her.
Exactly.
Yeah, the computer will listen, but it has no feelings. And
Right.
so it can't tell that you're upset. It can't tell you're unhappy. You need to get your prescription. The computer doesn't understand. So
Right.
while AI does a lot of terrific things, you've got to put that human. I have a friend of mine and they have automated attendant on their phone. They've always had it. Every time I go visit them, I tell them how much I hate it. I said,
Yeah,
I,
how much?
I just hate calling someone up and I have to hit 1 for this, 3 for
Yeah,
this, 6 for this, hit pound, put your code back in. Now let's get real. No,
that's
that's
not
not,
working. Yeah, yeah, you're
yeah.
gonna hit this number. I have some that have up to 9 digits, like one
Yep.
for this, two for and then once you hit nine, it says go back here and hit two for this, two for and you're like, I missed the number. Which one should I go back to? And you're really confused. So let's come back to that. If you could remove one repetitive task from the agency's weekly workload, like something that takes time from doing the real human work, it's repetitive, it's manual, it takes lots of time. What would that be?
Well, we've got a couple of things that take a lot of time. Again, I criticize the insurance companies all the time. I think their systems could be 1,000 times better. Um, and it's fascinating the range from the bottom to the top. We have a couple of companies that are fantastic where literally I have a number, I dial that number, I have a code, I put it in. Within a minute, I'm talking to a human being and they have the authority to deal with anything that I call them about. I won't tell you who it is because then everybody will call them, but
Of course.
they are fantastic when it comes to service. Then we have companies where we can pretty much figure a good hour, 2 hours to get through there. So technology isn't that expensive. I mean, the hardware part of it, software part of it,
Mhm.
the people part of it, yes, that's expensive. But the carriers overall, so many of them, it's not there. And I don't understand it because it works to their benefit. It helps keep their costs down, and makes them more efficient to assist that customer.
Wow. That so if something is going to be repetitive, like save time within the company, manual task week after week, that takes time from your agency workload, would you say that would be dealing with the forms or what kind of work would that be?
It's Well, it's interesting because we get phone calls a lot from companies. Companies say, "Oh, we want to buy you because we're going to streamline your back office, blah blah blah." Okay, explain to me what you think my back office is.
Exactly.
And of course, what they want to do is they're going to subcontract it out to somebody in Ecuador for $5 an hour.
Uh-huh.
The process to explain to that person what we really know, it doesn't work like that. My office manager and I, we've taken that process apart. We just did it. We try and do it at least every 60, 90 days to look at what we're doing to try and understand what in the world these people are talking about. Because I used to do workflow when I was in IT. And if you've flown that thing and put it together correctly, then you don't have a lot of that. There are still some things like in some cases we still have to deal with paper. I don't get that. We had one the other day and they sent us this form. I thought they were kidding. Seriously. I called them up and I go, "You sent me this form. Why'd you send me the form?" "Oh, you have to fill that out." "Why?" We have a customer that has to change their checking account on their account. It happens. And so I said, "Well, here you go, call this." They called me back. They go, "They can't help me." I said, "Well, I'm not allowed to take that. Let me see what I can do." I ended up with a piece of paper I had to send them. They're going to have to sign it, send it back to me. Now let's think about that.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it's time consuming, it's expensive.
Expensive, of course.
And it's absurd. And in 2026, there's no reason that we should have to deal with that. But we have to deal with that company. And so you try and explain to these companies, the more difficult you make it for me so that I can't make it easy for the customer, the less likely I'm going to want to sell your product.
Exactly. Man, we're in 2026 also. I mean, I'm glad you shared that because most companies are really into looking into actually streamlining, making it easier for customers, clients to access. For example, the turnaround time for just what you're saying. You send it to me, fill the form, sign it, mail it out, goes out, somebody brings it back.
I give you a perfect one, and I can't tell you who it is because it's a very, very large company, but they came to us. They came to us, and we'd like you to sell our product. Why do you want me to sell your product? I haven't been selling your product. Nobody's asking me for your product. Oh, no, no, no. People love our product. You should sell it. Okay, we'll sell your product. And so we needed some marketing materials. You think, gee, that's pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
So we called the company up. We need some marketing materials. Wow. We don't really have a good way to do that. I'm like, excuse me? You're running multi-million-dollar commercials on TV of people
Yeah.
jumping off of cliffs, and you don't have anything for me? Because one of the things we do are car shows, and we do events. Like I said, we're old school. We like to get out, people see us and all that. You cannot believe we still don't have anything from them. We're keeping our fingers crossed. We're actually going to get a training session on how to go find marketing material that we can then use to promote their product, because this is their product. In the meantime, I got 2 other companies. I can have their stuff done in about 15 minutes. So
15
what
minutes,
would you do? Well,
of
you'd
course.
go with the guys who can get
You
stuff
go with the
done.
guy, you work with the people who make your life easier, right? You just get it 15 minutes. I mean, it's all about 2026, as you said. But for someone listening who is not sure whether they have the right coverage, I'm just looking, what are some of the first steps that they should take?
Your volume dropped off of me just a hair.
Okay, I'm
Try
gonna
again.
ask the question.
Sure.
What type of client or business should reach out to Kikundel Insurance? What kind of business or client?
So we know our customers fairly well. Everything we do is demographics and zip codes. And so we look at a zip code and we look at the demographic of who's in that zip code. So for example, we don't run advertising or marketing to people under 25.
Right.
No reason. And I say that not because we don't love them, because we do love them. You got a 25-year-old, you want to truck in here and buy some insurance. We're nice guys. We do a lot of international students, for example, but primarily we deal with their parents.
Right.
Okay. We help the student, but the parents are paying for it and they've got the questions. At the other end of the spectrum, we do Medicare. If you're turning 65, we're the guys. Right?
Okay.
And very, very simply, because we have a great program for those people. If you're in automobile, my automobile customer ranges from typically age 30 to age 59 or 60, simply because the carriers we work with have great programs for those people. Homeowners, we do new homes, but in this physical area, there's actually a lot of old homes. My house is 30 years old. And so if you're going to deal with homes in that age group, you need to understand water heaters, electrical panels,
right,
plumbing, things of that nature. So depending upon the product line, yes, we have very specific demographics that we're going to work with. Then when it gets exciting is our customer moves to Ohio tomorrow.
right.
Now, I'm familiar with that area for a lot of reasons, but let's just say he moves to Iowa. We got nobody here from Iowa. We're going to do our best to help them. We have access to a lot of database material to be helpful with them. Here in Florida, yes, we know Florida.
Right. Okay. Where can people learn more about you and connect with Kikundel Insurance?
I'm sorry?
Where can people learn more about you and connect with Kikundel?
All right, so it's easy. It's KirkendallInsurance.com.
Okay, like do you have a phone number?
You know, like I say, we post all of our radar systems out there. People can go to carhome.com. They can, nobody will bother them. Nobody will drive them crazy. They can run, if they want to play on it, run all the prices for cars and homes and things. They're welcome to do that. We want people to be educated. We want them to want that transparency level. Right. So that they know what they're seeing versus filling out a form and hoping somebody gets back to them with something. Right. So, well, Donald, thank you for joining me on the Smart Office podcast. I really appreciate your insight on the independent insurance, Florida risk, and education, and helping people protect what matters most to them. Really appreciate your experience, sharing your experience, and the time we spent together. Thank you very much. Have a great day. It was fun for me.